I want to say hello to everybody today. We're trying to ascertain the value to the website TitanicUSA.com. It actually is an orchestration of events that characterize my own destiny in life through the years in relation to disasters that I've had to absorb on a personal basis. In combination with that, profound Fontainebleau Hilton bill has a huge story behind it that goes well beyond the mathematics and the equations to each of the athletes that are mentioned at the website in relation to their previous accomplishments or current accomplishments of whatever nature, as we're passing through or marching historically in time in our passage, which is somewhat correspondent or extremely directly correlated, and some very significant comparisons to the Titanic of 1912. There has been a complete book ready to be published with orchestration of individuals with athletic skills that are above and beyond general capabilities or accomplishments that are profiled on that Titanic website and are incorporated to a greater extent in some of the writings in my autobiography, Titanic 2000, The Millennium, or The Apocalypse. It's really difficult to ascertain which direction you want to open your communication as far as an understanding of the product. But the end result is that the race must adjust to having been created by a entity far more significant and capable than ourselves on an individual basis. As things have developed since our new millennium, whether it's 2000 or 2001, that we kicked in, there has been a little bit more of a higher pace of catastrophic destruction absorbed by the United States than it has usually been in a position to have to adjust to occurring in its own environment for the 48 contiguous states. The World Trade Center was considered a form of Pearl Harbor, but Pearl Harbor was not part of the United States as far as being a state in 1941. So this attack is really the first attack on the United States since 1812. Of great significance in not only the year 1812, it's re-signified through the destructive explosion over the Baltic of the Russian airspace ship 1812, Flight 1812. This just happened a very short time ago, on approximately October 4th, and it has a correspondent relationship to the events that occurred on September 11th of this year, 2001. We're now going into a phase where we're reaching a higher level of paranoia over this event, with the World Trade Centers both having been completely destroyed and the Pentagon having been struck successfully by another of our aircraft, Flight 77. Each of these interactions have a mercurial Pearl Harbor significance. So the American Airlines Flights 11 and 77 are a direct tie to the amount of people that were destroyed on the USS Arizona, which were 1177 men. So you have two flights, Flights 11 and 77, and you have 1177. So there's something very significant there. Of additional significance would be that the Pearl Harbor versus Serbia was something I prepared on June 19th, 1999, and released for what I expected to be publication within the American community. It was not well received by the Washingtonians, or the Pentagon, or the various and sundry magazines, whether they were on a general media scale or a more introspective form of media magazines that emanate out of the Washington, D.C. area. Other efforts were to Rush Limbaugh and Oliver North and other Roger Hedgecock in San Diego, and each one in one way or another, I guess, either didn't reaffirm or affirmed their distaste for the comparative skills which I reflected at that time. Titanic USA is a cadence that we're going under to some extent in relation to the advanced technological capabilities we have, and we're getting somewhat shocked by a lack of sophistication of the people that are able to take us down and distort our viewpoint or a previous vantage point of invincibility or invulnerability. So now there's paranoia with immigration, something that I had made a great effort for 34 months to address in this country. There's paranoia over flights, something that I had specific, detailed, analytical breakdown of each flight and the significant message that was involved in these flights and why they went down, because everything is orchestrated with a purpose or a reason in this country or around the globe. So now we're reaching a new stage of paranoia, which will be, of course, trumped up even to a greater extent by your news media that want to keep you in an alarmist state for as long a period of time as they can. Their accomplishment in doing this keeps you on a parallel or in tune to whatever advisements that they have over the media. And then now we have this circus going on in Afghanistan, chasing several thousand holy war terrorists at an expense that will be in the incalculable tens of billions of dollars before it's through. So you really have to look at the situation as really an irony that approximately $500,000 worth of expenses were allocated to not only destroy $1 trillion off the net worth of the Wall Street stock market, but additional tens of billions of dollars in decline from insurance, premium payments, destruction of 4 of our major airlines, flights, Boeing 767, what have you, and other material things of that nature. I think what we need to do is address why this is occurring, see why it's occurring, and from that advance the state of our own intellect and our persuasion as we're moving forward. There's been too much resistance to me in the past as far as opening communication or dialogue, because your minds are all shut out of wanting to hear this. You don't have any problem wanting to hear about the next drug. You have no problem wanting to hear about the next music that comes out or the next movie that comes out. But the highest level of exponential intellect, which is progressed through my brain, is something you have you're like a freight train running loose, wanting to run away from the situation, which has left me in a very deplorable condition and position, which has been well monitored by our beloved U.S. government. Which leads me to another point, to how could this happen when the U.S. government is watching every nickel that I have in my pocket, every phone call, every fax, and every email? Have they potentially expended too much in expenses, concerned about my exposure to the public, which has left them in a potentially deleterious position as to how they act and interact in society? There will be, of course, financial interpretations of my own life in relation to the World Trade Center or the financial centers. There will be my discourse regarding trade and my efforts in the trading field and facility, and my efforts regarding Norman Schwarzkopf and other parties in the Pentagon or the admirals, and how they interplayed into the destruction of these flights. So as that sailing is moving along, we're presently today, September 11th, 2001, and yesterday I opened up the new O.J. Simpson trial, which was on the Los Angeles Times. And it was stated that he had had an encounter with another automobile driver after running a red light in Kendall, Florida, without coincidence. In late 1987, I purchased 24 acres of land with a 50% partner out on Kendall Drive in San Bernardino, and there is as significant a corresponding relation to that as previous actions and interactions in regard to Mr. O.J. Simpson. As a parting note, I did visit Mr. Simpson on January 10th, 2001 at his residence on 112th Street in Miami, I did not bring this subject up regarding Kendall Drive, but I did show to him, which he had a complete conceptual comprehension, that the Ford Bronco circumstances in Newport Beach, California, where my Ford Bronco, or not mine, but a Ford Bronco destroyed my Mercedes back on March 31st, 1989, and fled the scene, was correspondent to some of his action with his wife. And I went further and deeper into an analytical comprehension. Unfortunately, Mr. Simpson didn't find it quite within the field of exposure or endeavor that I felt was necessary. After I had made that approach, and he went his way, and hadn't heard back from him. With that, parting is that it would be in your best interest to read the book regarding the Apocalypse, Titanic, 2000. And don't be concerned that it has the word 2000 on there instead of 2001. It's not outdated. It won't be 5 years or 10 years from now or 5,000 years from now. It's significant to how things are moving today and how they corresponded in relation to my own personal life through the years. At age 4, who knows how long I'll be around, maybe 94. Anyway, look closely at the website. There aren't any errors in it. And then find how you yourself can interplay into it. I'm not looking to all be athletically charmed or gifted as diversity of skilled players are there. But it does bring out through my Fontainebleau Hilton build their achievements over the 1990s in correlation to that March 23rd, 1989 tab that I had at the hotel, which went to the same correspondent cost to me over a few days as William the Conqueror was the King of England from 1066 through 87, which was 21 years. Enjoy the passage, and I'll be back to discuss more things later. Thank you.